aprovecharon y llamaron esto como el uso del Apolo.
In 1975 is when Apollo Soyuz took place.
En 1975 fue cuando el Apolo fue utilizado.
So it was a cooperative mission against by two competing in the Cold War nations with missiles lined up against each other, but we were able to do a cooperative mission in space.
Esto se trató básicamente de cooperación. En esta época había muchísimos misiles y muchísimas bombas y nosotros lo que hicimos fue unificarnos.
Now the Soviet Union was developing some space stations, and we developed the space shuttle. Because of a failure of another program, it took longer to develop the space shuttle, and it first started flying in 1981.
En 1981 nosotros, y aproximadamente en esas fechas, tuvimos varios errores sobre cómo es que íbamos a lanzar estas estaciones espaciales, pero al final tuvimos éxito.
I think the key thing for me to remember, 1989 and 1990, with the introduction of defense against ballistic missiles called Strategic Defense Initiative, somewhat ridiculed by members of the media by calling it Star Wars.
En 1989 y 1990, mientras estaban volando misiles balísticos, fuimos ridiculizados llamándonos Star Wars, lo cual no lo somos. Más bien estábamos aprovechando lo que es pues, el desarrollo de la ciencia espacial.
The leaders in the Soviet Union realized that they could not match with their industry and their economy the strategic defense against ballistic missiles, mostly because of the demonstrated success of the Apollo program in demonstrating the great capability of the United States by going to the moon.
Rusia lo que se dio cuenta es de que sus misiles balísticos no tenían comparación con lo que es el Apolo, debido a que la investigación y el desarrollo de este proyecto pues había alcanzado a llegar a la Luna.
So just to summarize, I believe that the success of Apollo brought the end of the Cold War and peace, more or less, between Russia and the United States. And of course, as we began to put up our space station,
y para simplificar, yo puedo decir que lo que fue el mandar el Apolo 11 a la Luna es dar término a lo que fue la Guerra Fría y término a los conflictos con Rusia y a los otros conflictos de ese tiempo.
In 1985, even before the Soviet Union came apart, there was cooperative efforts between space powers in the International Space Station with the European Space Agency, the Japanese space activities, the Russian, and other countries with experiments and astronauts who have flown both with Russia.
En 1985, la unificación de Japón, Europa, Estados Unidos tuvieron un gran desarrollo en cuanto a las investigaciones espaciales y ahora podemos decir que gracias a estas unificaciones nosotros nos encontramos en donde estamos.
January of 1986 grounded the space shuttle, and other rockets began to augment the shuttle. So mostly the shuttle was for NASA activities, building the space station, launching and retrieving some satellites. But we had to have a big change because of the Challenger accident in 1986 and the Columbia accident in 2003 also brought about major changes.
Los accidentes que ha habido hacia los cohetes hacia el espacio han sido significativos, puesto que gracias a estos accidentes hemos podido improvisar y evolucionar día a día los cohetes que son mandados hacia el espacio. Estos cohetes han ayudado mucho a la construcción de la estación espacial que se encuentra en el espacio, y hemos transportado muchísimos materiales y muchísima tecnología hacia el espacio gracias a estos cohetes que son llevados por la NASA y el gobierno de los Estados Unidos.
President Bush in 2004 initiated a new program. After the accident board both agreed that the shuttle should be retired at the end of 2010, and the presidential objective of the future was called Vision for Space Exploration, to complete the space station, retire the space shuttle before 2011, and go to the moon by 2020. The implementation of that, because of rocket problems in the crew and the heavy rocket, was not at all successful. So when President Obama took over, he had to deal with a space program that had really not come together at all, and so he sort of agreed that certain things had to be canceled. Rockets, landers, and the spacecraft Orion would continue. He commissioned a study to be done in 90 days about what our future should be in space, and I submitted my first version of Unified Space Vision in 2009. In 2010, I joined the president in going to Florida, where he acknowledged that the moon was not in the United States' intentions for humans to go back to the moon, but an asteroid, a human mission to an asteroid by 2025 could lead to orbiting Mars and then landing on Mars. The human mission to an asteroid was not very enthusiastically received, and preparing to do a lot of things with an asteroid. That was not the purpose that I submitted. After doing some things with spacecraft before we went to Mars, would develop the reliability and the performance of the interplanetary spacecraft. And going to an asteroid was developing the spacecraft, not investigating the asteroid. The cooperation internationally at the moon should be a fundamental building block to the international activities at Mars. Because we have landed and explored the moon before, 44 years ago, and know quite a lot about it, I believe the United States should withdraw from the competition to send humans back to the moon for prestige reasons, for the most part. National prestige, and the people of a nation are greatly impressed if their nation can do significant achievements in space.